tracked by radar, tracked visually. So there was multiple sightings using multiple modes. And then a third flying saucer came up next to it. So there were 3 objects now flying next to this JAL flight. Well, afterwards, when the flight landed, the pilots made the announcement that they saw a flying saucer, but then what happened? Very important. At that point, the pilots were given desk jobs, basically demoted. And that sent a chill throughout the industry, because if you say that you saw something unusual in your airplane, you would be given a desk job, and you wouldn't fly again. So in other words, keep your mouth shut. As a consequence, no data, very little data, has been collected until recently. And that's what we physicists need, data, so that we can make objective statements about what these things are. Now the burden of proof has shifted. The burden of proof is on the military now to prove that these things aren't extraterrestrial. And that's a sea change. Now we realize that we're sitting on hours of videotapes. We're sitting on a mountain of data. The data has to be analyzed frame by frame to figure out what these objects are, what their flight characteristics are, and who is behind them. So things have changed now. Now we have access to videotapes, and now the burden of proof is to prove that these things aren't extraterrestrial. What happened was citizens' pressure put pressure on certain politicians. These politicians, in turn, put pressure on the military to declassify some of this information. So that's how it happened. There is the FOIA Act, the Freedom of Information Act, that allows citizens to gain access to some classified information, but it's a long, torturous process. But some of it is now reaching the press, that yes, the military is owning up to the fact that it's sitting on a gold mine of data that has to be analyzed frame